Hi guys, good afternoon. So in the last session, we went with what was the weekend? Jet weekend. Okay. So today we'll go with VRF Lite Aware VPN. Now, there was a task for you to check about VRF Lite. Did you check? No. Online people? Guys, did you check? Yes or no? No? No one checked? Hmm? Oh, understand this. First, let me design the lab, then we will understand it. VRF Lite Aware. Only two? Yes, you can say multiple. Okay. Hmm, correct. So first of all, see this thing here. Without glasses, everything changes. Even I can. Okay. So this is R1, R2. Then we can say 0 by 0 with 0 by 0, 0 by 1 with 0 by 1, 0 by 2, 0 by 2, 0 by 3, then 0 by 3. Okay, this is the scenario. We are like, okay. Now, why VRF Lite is used? Okay. So let's say in your network, you have two departments. Okay. There are two departments you can consider. One is the sales department, another one is the finance department. These are the two different departments. Okay. And what you want is you don't want them to communicate with each other. You don't want them to communicate with each other. Now, see here, you can say what I will do is I'll use a IP range here, something like 192.168, let's say 10.0 slash 24 here, and 192.168 11.0 slash 24 here. Then I'll use, let's say, 192.168.20.0/24 here. Then I'll use 192.168.22.0/24. Okay. Then here I'll give, let's say, 10.110/24. On this side I'll use 10.2.2.0/24. Okay. So everywhere here .1 IP will be used. Here this side I'll use .2 IP. Okay. Then this is R6. So let's say we'll use .6, .5. R3 we'll use .3. And this side we'll use .4. Okay. Then after we can use loopbacks also here. I can say 172.16.1.0/24 from this side. 172.16.2.0/24 I can use. Okay. Then I can use 172.16.3.0/24. Yes, loopbacks. 4.0/24. Okay. Or let's do one thing. These also. Let's consider according to sequence one. So here I will use 6.0/24. Here I use 5.0/24. Okay. Now understand here that if this wants to communicate, let's say this is sales PC1, so I'll name it S1. And then this is sales 2. This is finance, so F1. And this will be F2. So when sales wants to communicate with the sales 2, right? They will communicate, and finance 1 will try to communicate with the finance 2. They will also communicate, right? Now, what my requirement is that my sales 1 should be able to communicate with sales 2, but they should not be able to communicate with the finance. So normally my router will have a routing table. So from S1, if I will try to ping F1, I'll be able to ping. Why? Because my router will have a route, right? In the routing table, my router will have a route. So according to that, it will communicate here also, it will communicate here also, same thing here also. Now my requirement is I don't want this communication. Between these two departments, I don't want communication. So how I can achieve it? ACL, one way is ACL. So how many ACLs I have to apply here? And on how many interfaces I have to apply? 2 interfaces. I want that this S1 should not communicate with F1 and F2. Hmm. We can apply outbound. Outbound ACL on V0/2. Think about it. Yeah. 0/2 to 0/0 permit. So if traffic will be permitted, traffic will go.
So we can deny 192.15.10.0 on B013.
Okay, you can deny, but still they will communicate with F2.
Don't supply the same B013.
Hmm?
R4 of B013 in that case we can apply the same.
Okay.
We can deny that particular.
Same thing, my sales should not communicate. And again, this finance should not communicate.
For that finance also, we can apply a payment on B012. Like, yeah, in the network.
So you see here how many sales you have to create,
4 equals.
right? And you have to apply them on multiple different interfaces, correct? What would be an easier way? That I just want to completely isolate it. I want to completely isolate my sales department from my finance department, right? So what I'll do, I'll create VRF. So with the help of VRF, what will happen? That this, the routing table, right now, whatever the routing table they have is what? Global routing table, we call it. Okay. So that will be divided. That will be divided. And now we will have two different routing tables, one for sales, one for finance. Is that clear? And with the help of this, what we will try to do is we are going to try to secure the communication between these endpoints. Okay. Now, if they will have communication, that will definitely pass through the VRF. The traffic will pass through the VRF, but the problem will be what? The problem will be, it will be again transferring as a plain text only. And if you want to secure this communication, we will use IPsec, policy-based VPN. Okay. This is clear. Then in VRF, we have one more small concept, which is known as route distinguisher. We have another concept, route distinguisher. So this route distinguisher helps in doing what? That if I have identical subnets here, that means between R1 and R2 in the VRF as well as in, in the sales as well as finance, I want to use same subnet. That means instead of using two different subnets here, I'll use same. Now, if I'm not creating two different routing tables here, if I'm not having VRF concept, can I assign the same IP on two interfaces of a router? No, I cannot assign. Yes. But if it is VRF created, then this is completely isolated. So there will be no overlapping. There will be no overlapping at all. Yeah, you can say. Yeah, they will be part of one VRF. They will. Hmm? No, not enough. Not enough. You can just keep on thinking because see, right now I'm talking about one network. You have to think about multiple different networks. Okay. So that is not a scalable solution. Scalable solution is your VRF. Okay. So we will use identical. So what will happen now? Z0/0 as well as Z0/1. They belongs to two different VRF. That means Z0/2, Z0/0 VRF sales, Z0/3 and Z0/1 VRF finance. Okay. Same way, 0/0 and 0/2 sales and 0/1 and 0/3 finance. Okay. So now this is one complete isolated network. This is another complete isolated network. Okay. This is clear. Okay. So now let's go with the configuration. Online people, this is clear. See, VRF Lite is what? This is basically your VRF without MPLS. VRF is mostly used in the MPLS concept. Okay. VRF without MPLS. Okay. And then we have VRF with MPLS. Mostly it is used with MPLS only, but in some cases we can use it without MPLS as well. Now let's go and configure it. Okay. VRF Lite Aware VPN. Ten dot. Let's see. Let's see. Go. 24. This is the subnet we'll use here. Same subnet we'll use this side. Then the subnet we will use here. Ten dot 0/24. Dot 0/24. Dot 0. And then here we will use 6.0. Now this is loopback only. 6.6/24. Five dot 5. Dot 3. 4.4. And the addresses. Ten, 12, 12, 1. Hmm. Dot 2. And this is also dot 2. 11.2. 22.2. Dot 5. Dot 3. This is 20.1. Then we have 10.1. Okay. Okay. This is our sales VRF. This is our financial VRF. This is clear. Okay. Now we have to do the basic configuration. First of all, let's configure R6. So we'll say no, we'll name it simple S1. Okay. Oh, let's name it select R6. Interface 050. No shutdown. No shutdown. Okay. Then we have to go right towards 10.1. This will be November. And South 3. Hmm? Hmm. And South 3. This will be N.3. This will be 3.3. And .1. Then we have output. Connect to .4. This will be 4.4. Done. That's success. Output. N3. Output. Say start page. And then South 3. This output. This configuration is done. Now let's go to R1 as well as R2. Now see here. Host name R1. Okay. Similar kind of configuration. I'll do it for R2. Okay. Now see here, the first thing we will do is we will start by creating the VRFs. Okay. So I'll say IP VRF sales created. Okay. And since I want to use different same IP address on both the sites, I want to use what? Same IP address. So I have to use a route distinguisher. Okay. So that will distinguish between these two IP addresses. Okay. So I'll say here, if you see, I'll have a command with the name RD, right? So I'll simply say RD, and then I can give a ASN number and any random number here. One is this format. Another one, I can give the IP address or number, anything up to you. So let's say I'll use something like ASN number, I'll use one and colon. Let's say any random number. So I'm using it 10 for the sales, right? Done. Exit from here. Same thing, I'll create VRF finance also. IP VRF. I was using caps. Yes. Finance. And here I'll say RD and let's say 2. This is clear. Now I need to go and configure the interfaces here. Okay. So let's say I'll configure the interfaces. And see, I don't want to use here static routing or default routing right now. What I'll do, I'll use here dynamic route. Okay, so on these also I'll configure report EIGR or something. So first of all, let's talk about the interfaces. I'll say interface, okay, Z0 by 0. Okay, now go to the interface, first assign the VRF membership. So I'll say IP VRF, okay, and then I'll say forwarding, and which is my Z0 by 0 belongs to sales. Sales. Done. Now I can assign IP address. IP address 10.12.12.1. Okay, then 255.255.255. Here, bring the interface up. Then interface Z0 by 1. Interface Z0 by 1. IP VRF forwarding. And this time the name is what? Finance. And then assign the IP address. And IP address is same. Then bring the interface up. And you can see I'm using same IP address. Do show IP interface, right? Then Z0 by 2 will be part of which sales or finance? Sales, right? Interface Z0 by 2. I'll say IP VRF forwarding. Okay, and this is part of the sales. Then I'll say IP address 192.168. 10.1 255.255.255 0. No shutdown. Interface Z0 by 3. This is finance. IP address 20.1 255.255.255 0. No shutdown. So R1 side basic configuration is done. Okay, configure routing. So let's say if you want to use two different routing protocols, you can use two different routing protocols. Okay, so just for an example, let's say this site, I want to use something like consider the version 2. Any protocol you can use, repo SPF AGIP. So let's say one side I'm using it, another side I'll use AGIP. and AS number, let's say I'll use 10. Okay. ARP, AS number I'll use 10. Now, if I want to configure RIP here, so I'll say router RIP. This is what we do normally. Then we say version 2 command. Then we start giving away the networks also. Correct? So let's say I'll say what version 2. Correct? Then no auto summary. Okay, no auto summary. Then area. Networks we start defining, right? Network and network. But if I do such thing, it will be what? It will take my entire global routing table. I want to configure it for VRF only, right? So here we have a command address family. So I'll say address family IPv4. Then do you see I have an option here? Yeah. Right. So I'll say VRF, and now for which VRF I want to configure it. So this is the sales VRF. Now under this address family, now I will start configuring the networks. So what are my networks? 192.168.10.0. Then network 10.12.12.0. Okay, and remaining all the commands like auto summary. So if you don't want to enable auto summary here, you can say auto summary. Correct. And which loopback? Right now I'm configuring R1 by. Okay, and see version here for this instance itself, I can say 2, because earlier what I said was global. Outside was global. So even if you don't configure there and if you configure here, so that will work. That means what? See here, this no auto summary and version 2 command. Earlier when I said router rep, see here, I gave here. So this is what global configuration. You don't require here. Right now we are using it for VRF, so we will configure everything under address family. Is that clear? Okay. So rep is configured. Exit the address family, then exit the router. Now EIGRP I want to configure. Router, EIGRP, then AS number I want to use. So which AS number I'll use? 10. But here, whatever the AS number I use, that will be global. Right? So here I can use any random AS number also. Let's say I'll use, instead of 1, I'll use, let's say 1000. Again, address family, IPv4, VRF, and this is for finance. Okay. Then here I can say that, wait, yeah, AS number. Okay, here, see, there are two things. One is if the OS is older in the router, so it will support here after giving the finance. Okay. Since this router is having newer operating system, you have to say here itself after the finance. AS number also we have to give here. Wait a minute. Okay, already in the address family. See, warning, autonomous system must be provided. So here itself, we can configure it. That autonomous system number 10. Okay. 1000 is the global one we give. This is I'm giving address family that for VRF finance, what is the autonomous system number? Okay. Global randomly anything you can use. Yeah. So here we will use no auto summary command, and then we can configure the networks. Network 192.168.20.0 network 10.12.12.0. Here, then we can exit the address family and exit the router. Now this configuration is done on the R1. Same configuration we have to do on the R2. Okay, so see first of all what is the configuration we have done. IP VRF sales. We gave RD one time for this. Then we said IP VRF finance. RD we said 2 and 20. And then we went to the interface. 0 by 0 IP VRF forwarding. This belongs to sales. Then we give the IP address 10 12 12 1. Now shut down. G0 by 1. IP address is same, only finance. Then G0 by 2 belongs to sales. IP addresses 10.1. And then we have G0 by 3 belongs to finance. Okay. 20.1. Okay. Then we configured rep router rep. Then we said address family IPv4 where sales. Then we can do no to somebody version to all those commands. No to somebody. Then we can say network. And say network. Right. Then we can configure AHRP also. Any random you can use here. Address family IPv4 VRF finance and here autonomous system is autonomous system rate. Which one? No, as soon as you will give router AGRP command, right? That should work. So automatically it will exit, no need to worry. See here. Let's say router AGRP 1000. Then you give autonomous system number, and now here if I say router rep, automatically exit. Okay. Okay. Now auto summary. Yes, sir. Okay. Then we'll give network 20.0. Then network 10 12 12. Okay. This is the configuration we have done. Now similar kind of configuration we'll do on R2 also. Okay. So here let's call it 210 and 320. Now let's call it like something like 440 and 330. This is local, so same or different doesn't matter. Okay, this is local.
We can use the same also.
We can, no problem. It's local, so it doesn't matter. So this time interface names on R2 Z0 by 0 interface belongs to sales only. IP address will be, and Z0 by 1 IP address will be, hmm? No, Z0 by 0 and Z0 by 1 interface. Okay, what happened? Then we have Z0 by 2, that will be Lavan.2, and Z0 by 3 will be 22. This is done. Then RIP we will configure address family autonomous. This will be 11. Then ARP no auto summary. Remaining everything is same, right? No, let's go. Okay, here we haven't configured, right? So we have to copy complete configuration. R2. So we should see that EIGRP neighborship should be there. If EIGRP neighborship is up, something okay, autonomous spelling is mistake. MOUS. Mhm. Yeah, it's fine. This configuration was having error. So this is done in the global. So right now I'll say no router AGRP 1000. So that global configuration is removed. Now this configuration is done. See, neighborship came up. And same way on these routers also, we will configure, right? Instead of these routes, we will use dynamic routes on. Okay, instead of using default routes, we can use dynamic routes. Okay. So let me see. No. And oh, let me do it like this. Need to run by section route. No, done. This is R6, so two networks I have to advertise in the RIP. And here we don't see, here we are not using any VRF. So here it will be global routing table only. So I'll say router RIP version 2, no auto summary. Mhm. No auto summary version 2, network 192.168, 10.0, network 172.60.6.0. Done. This configuration is done. What is the configuration? In place of this, we are using router with version 2, no auto summary, network 172.16.6.0, 10.0. This will get configuration. Here it will be 5.0. Correct. So that one also. Copy. From the system. Then we have finance R3. Here we will configure AGRP. Router, AGRP 10. No auto summary. And here we have the networks 20.0 and 3.0. So network 122.16.3.0. Network 192.163 20.0. See, neighborship came up. And neighborship came up means configuration is all right. Okay.
Where we are using both of that address only, right?
Yeah, real autonomous, because these guys are not using any VRF, right? These R6, R3, R4, R5, these are not using any VRF. VRF is between R1 and R2 only. Okay.
So we are saying we are giving that route 3 area to them.
Hmm.
10 is for
The global. Hmm?
10 is for address and global.
But here these are not aware, right? See, VRF will use the address family autonomous system number. It will not use global. But these for these guys, there is no VRF. These guys are independent.
Why we are
Where?
router 3?
Because neighborship will be made with this autonomous system, right? The neighborship will come up using this.
This is not advertising networking of
Hmm?
global.
Here we are advertising, right? Here we are advertising. Okay, all the neighborships and everything is up. Now, see, what should we have right now? We should have communication from R6 to R5, R3 to R4, right? So let's go and check the routes. Do show. Okay, see here. How do I check the routes? I'll say show IP route. Okay. So what do you see here? I have read routes. On the R6, I have routes for 172 16.5, correct? And I have for 10 12 12 also. And I have for 192 168 11 also, right? So if I try to communicate from R6 to R5, that means this loopback, if I try to communicate, I will be able to ping.
Yes.
That's right. So I'll say do ping 172 16 5.5. I have the communication. So right now I have this communication, but is this communication secure? Right? This communication will not be secure. So we have to go and secure this communication. Okay. Same way, I can go on R3. Okay. From here, do I have any route for R3? No, right? So if I try also, I will not be able to ping. Earlier, I would be able to ping if I did not use VRF. So how do we check? Go to R1. And if I say show IP route, Is there any route? Why? Because this we are checking is global routing table. Show IP route command. This is showing you the global routing table. So if I say show IP route, and if you give question mark, you'll find that I have VRF option to display routing from a specific VRF instance, right? So I'll say I just want to check the VRF sales. So VRF sales, we are using RIP. These are the RIP routes. Okay, same way, I can say I want to check the VRF finance. These are the finance where we are using EIC. Clear? Okay. And if I try to ping from RC, do ping 172.16.4.4, I'm able to. Now, this is VRF configuration done. That means VRF Lite configuration done. Now we need to secure this communication IPsec. The IPsec we will configure between these two. Because our VPN configuration is what? VRF Lite Aware VPN. Okay. Now see here. How our configuration will be. Go to R1. First of all, let's configure. Here only difference will be that we will have to create two keys we have to create, one for the sales VRF, one for the finance VRF. And same way, we will have two C maps also. One for the sales, one for the, okay. So phase one configuration, we have to as a term policy 10, then we will say hashing SHA-256, authentication, reshare with 14, then encryption AES we will use, and lifetime default we will use. Now here there will be difference in how you create the keys. Difference will be there in what? How you create the key. So see here how you create the key. So first of all, let me copy this, and this configuration I'm doing it for R1. Okay. Yeah. This phase one configuration will be global. Only key will be there for VRF. This is phase one done. Now, earlier when we were creating the key, how we, like, what was the command? We were using crypto, and we were using ISACAM, right? So if I see here, earlier I was directly giving key, but this time I'll use the command keyring. Okay. I'll say crypto keyring. Then I have name my keyring. So let's say, for example, this I'm creating for sales. So I'll name it, let's say, for example, sales key. Do you see what I have? Mention a VRF it belongs to. Yeah. So which VRF it belongs to? Sales. Done. Now see here. We have option for reshared key. So I'll say reshared key. Then I have address. That means my peer address. Okay. And what will be my peer address here? Peer address. This is R1. Peer address 12.2. Okay. 10.12.12.2. We give the address prefix. Okay, incomplete command it is 10.12.12.2. And then after we have to give the key also. That what is the key? Key. This is the key that you want to configure. Stuck. I think RDP issue. Okay. So key. I can say 0, and then we can say Cisco. This is the key.
Sorry, making
Hmm?
making
Okay, come on. Okay, disconnected. No, here it's working fine. Okay, so key I have given. Now I can say enter. Okay, trailing white spaces. Okay, I think I have some white space already exists. We have to give a no here. Why? Because there was a white space. So sometimes in the key, it should not happen. Okay, now correct key has been installed. Now, see here. This is done. From here, accept. Now, phase 2. Crypto, IP set, transform set, T set, then ESP, KS, then again ESP, SHA, HM. Okay, exit from here. Then after access list, so access hyphen list 100 permit IP, and let's say I want to encrypt the traffic from 16 dot like 6.6 to 6.0 to 5.0. Okay, so I'll say permit IP from 172.16 6.0 255.255.255.0 to clear. Access list done. Then what? Crypto map. Crypto map we will create. So I'll say crypto map C map, or let's say let's name it sales C map. Crypto map, sales C map. Then number here 10, and then we'll say IPsec, ISECAN. Okay, then we'll say set. Now transform set I will use same because phase 2 parameters I want same. And then here set here mode transport not required. Okay, what is my peer? 10.12.12.2, and I'll say match address 100. This is clear. This is done for sales. Now for finance. So in the finance, okay, first of all, let me show you this configuration here. Phase 1 is done. Then we'll create the keyring. Okay. This is the keyring we have created. Under the keyring, we gave the key, the pre-shared key, right? This is the pre-shared key we used. Then after we exit, then we created transform set, phase 2 configuration. Okay. After phase 2 configuration, we configured access list. This was the access list. This was on list. Okay. After this, what did we do? We create CMAP. That is our crypto map. Okay. Then we set the transform set. Then we have to apply it on the interface also. Now sales interface is what? Z0 by 0. Okay, Z0 by 0 is what? Sales. Okay, and my peer address is this side, right? So I will use it this side only, not on the Z0 by 2. So I'll say interface Z0 by 0, crypto map, and our name is CMAP sales. Where is the sales CMAP? That's why I'm copying it. And I should get ISACAMP is on. Okay. Interface 0/0. Okay. Now see here, what will be the change? We have to create the key again. We have to create the access list again. And we have to create the crypto map again. So see here, this much we have to do it again. Transform set we will use as it is. So I'm not creating the transform set again here. Okay. Now see here, this is done for sales. Now we are doing it for finance. Finance. This is also finance. Access list, I will name it 101. Then this will go from 3.0 to 4.0. 3.0 to 4.3. And this will be finance CMAP. Address will be same. Access list will be 101. Here IP will be as it is. Same IP we are using, right? Then this is finance CMAP. Okay. So this much configuration I have to copy and paste again. Copy, paste. Done. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll start capturing the packets on Z0 by 0 and Z0 by 1. So that when I configure this side, we can see that main mode, right? Quick mode, those things we can see. So this is the first capture for Z0 by 0 interface. No, both we have to configure. But I starting capture because EIGRP will be traveling, right? That's why. So this one. Yeah. That means dynamic routing will be there, right? Yeah. So already negotiation will happen and we'll not be able to see the packets. Z0 by 1. Now this one is for Z0 by 1. Okay, this lower one, Z0 by 1. And this one is for. Okay. Okay. Now, same thing we have to configure where? R2 also. So let me copy this IPsec configuration. So many comments you have to remember. This will be sales. Here will change. Here on this side, destination will become source, source will become destination. Right? Sales CMAP, here IP will change. And access list is done. Crypto map is Z0 by 0 applied. Finance, here IP address will change. And in the access list, source will become destination, destination will become source. Then here also again, here IP will change. Okay, see one mistake. Z0 by 1. Here also. And I think in the, okay, this is R1 only. No, this is R2. In the R1 also we made this mistake. This is Z0 by 1. So on R1 we have to change it again to on the Z0 by 0 sales and interface Z0 by 1. Okay. Correct. Here I have applied Z0 by 0. Now it's fine. Okay. Now let's go and configure on R2. Copy. Enable terminal. Let me minimize it so we can see main mode, quick mode. R2 means R4. Okay. Oh yes, R2. Correct. Today, you're right. Okay. Now see here. Now let's see. Do we get main mode, quick mode? Area is traveling. Okay. Traffic is not initiated, right? Let's initiate the traffic. So if I say ping on some hello message is traveling from C. Hello message is traveling from this IP address. Our ACL is from here. And VPN tunnel will be negotiated with the ACL. This is policy based VPN, right? So now see. This side it is traveling direct, no encryption. And what about here? It was a ping, some 64. Okay, source I forgot to give you. Source 172.16.6. 6.8. Okay. On this side we have some problem. Let me check. 4.4. Source 172.16.3.3. Here also it's the same. This is, let's wait a minute. Finance. Access list is also fine. Will show to ISACAM essay. Tunnel is not established. The phase 1 is not there, phase 2 will also be not there. Section. ISACAM. Transform set access list. This is our one. 10, 12, 12. 2. set here and 12.2. Check. Let me check in the document. VRF Lite. We configured VRF. This configuration is also done. Hmm? Yeah, it's just a typo, anything it can be. It doesn't need to be seen because the neighborship will be coming up with this. See, this much configuration is okay. IP set configuration, policy, then we have configured key also. No, that is same, not a problem. That is just for unencrypted. And we have configured everything is correct. Hmm? Key has to be same. Key has to be same. Okay, okay. No. I know. Actually, can we? What do you have? Which one?
Apply to finance VRF interface, and then interface V0/1.
This is not the same configuration. This is not the same configuration. Okay, so don't go with the interface level kind of thing. You can see two different CMAPs are there. They are applied to two different interfaces. Okay. What is the doubt? This is different notepad. This is a different notepad. Configuration wise, everything looks fine. One thing can be a problem. Let's do one thing. I'll restart R1 and R2 once. Stop. No need. I'll reconfigure it. Now we have the configuration, only we need to paste it. Start. Z0/1 in the finance, Z0/0 in the rep. Only VPN configuration we have to check. It's fine. Just IPsec, ISACAM, finance, now. Sales, now. This is R2. So EIGRP neighborships are up. That means we should have this communication right now. Okay. Now VPN configuration. R2 interface leak 0/0 we will capture. And R2 interface is Z0/1 we will capture. And then we will copy paste the VPN configuration. Transform set. Copy. On R2, let me see. If I try to generate the traffic now, but the traffic is not going through that tunnel. For map transform set we are using access list we are matching. Good. This is R2, right? Yes. R1 side configuration is done. Let's go for R2 side configuration. Copy. User campus. So, crypto as a key is say VRF 6. Right now, nothing. Now, two, This is also we are going. Running. Here addresses are okay. Transform set is okay. Access list is also fine. Hmm. Oh, to one thing. So run interface in 30%. Interfaces are already enabled for VRF. They are not part. User camp is on, just not hitting the room. It says any to any. Why? No, access is 100. No, access is 101. Access list 100. Okay, it's correct actually. Column is here. 6.0. Here, wildcard will come.
Current rate, euro memory.
Hmm. Still, you didn't notice. Okay, now let me check on the other side also, on the R2 also. You know, access list 100. No, access list 101. Access list 100. Permit IP from 1.63 5.02. If I play 16, please. Let me try to slight mistake. Got it? See, I don't have specs also. You don't notice. Oh, sure, that configuration wise, we don't have a problem. Only subnet mask, wildcard mask. This is for R2. And this one is for R1. Now in R1 also we will see. I mean for finance also. Okay. And we can verify now. Our main mode, click mode. Show. 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 I second. Then essay. So you can see. I have the terminal active from 12.2 to 12.1. Okay. And specifically for VRF, you want to check. So you can say VRF 6. This is for sales VRF. This is for finance VRF. Here. And now whenever we will ping, our traffic is 6. ESP. And here also you can verify. And that's ESP. Here. So this is your VRF Lite Aware VPN. When you do big configurations, small thing happens. If you had done advanced, then you would already be aware of VRF. So that means only VPN configuration I need to explain. VPN configuration is also same. All just only your key, how you define the key is different. And then 2 CMAPs we have to create. Okay. That means. Sure. No problem. Which part I have to explain? VRF configuration or
Why we tried EIGR pin for
EIGR pin?
in global mode and
Interface mode.
EIGR pin are particular to 10.
Yeah.
EIGR 1000 and EIGR 10.
So EIGRP 1000 is for global configuration. If you will not configure, how you will configure the address family directly? Yes. Right. So for configuring VRF, we require it. Okay. That means that was just to start the EIGRP configuration. After that, we wanted to use VRF. So for VRF concept, we used address family. Okay. VRF Lite. Yeah, only R1 and R2. Here the traffic is completely unencrypted. Okay, so by mistake, if you start capturing here, you will keep on doing troubleshooting. The tunnel will never come up because the tunnel is between R1 and R2. And you have to capture the packets on Z0 by 0 and 0 by 1 only. Okay. Yeah, you cannot go here and there. If you capture packets on R4, it will be unencrypted. Here also it will be unencrypted. Why? Because VPN configuration is here. VPN R2 automatically yeah, because R2 will receive the traffic and it will decrypt it. The encryption will be decrypted here. Clear? Okay. See, if you configure VPN on R3 and R4, in that case, it will be like normal IPsec VPN. There you don't require VRF. Right? Here we are using because we are configuring it as VRF Lite Aware VPN. Right? Clear? Okay. Guess how many lines configuration you did? This is 250 lines configuration. 250 lines. Okay, guys, online people. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.